closed. They all turned and looked at the big room they had been led to. It was fairly open and empty, almost like an theater room. At one end of the room, there were six square vats, each one nearly full with individual spectra. Above them was a peculiar-looking machine. From a central stack, six hoses broke off and led above each of the individual vats. At the top of the stack was a single opening, red with rust to sweat the rest of the machinery to be shiny and clean. Even further above, there was a fairly complex-looking object with chains and gears hanging off of beams and pipes loosely. Running even higher than the whole machine was a length of scaffolding, with doors on either side leading out of the room. Doors on the room, a small collection of defeated, crying ponies sat, chatting quietly. Those suits, those are forms that other flight schools across town, damn it, or informed sounding shock, and those other ponies sitting over there. See, I remember a trip we went on with the Levingtating Acres Private School. I remember them from that trip. So, this is where all the failures go. Not deported, but first to work forever? Orion sobbed quietly. In exchanging for helping someone, he had doomed himself and his good friend to a life of servitude. Scootaloo reached a reassuring wing over and lifted his chin. She smiled at him, understanding his depression. At least we don't have to go through it alone, she cooed softly. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the group of ex-students. One pony from an unidentified school took off, headed towards one of the doors on the scaffolding. Immediately, two shooter ponies launched at record speed, both clipping to fly away with their tasers. The pony spasmed in air and then dropped like a stone, with an audible crack as he landed, in a violent burst of twitching. All the other ponies walked back, staring horrified at their friend. They watched, hopefully, for a long time. He didn't move. Some cried softly. Most of us turned away. Too far confused to feel any more emotions. I guess that option's out. Duh. Aurora's quietly said to no one in particular. But you can't fly right now anyways, Orion questioned. That medic guy, Patches or whatever he was called, he popped my wings back into the joints and bandaged up where my skin tore. I won't be winning any races, but I can fly. They slowly walked towards and joined the group of ponies, looking at each other with understanding sorrow. Eyes front and center, you inept mules, one of the pseudo ponies shouted. After the previous display, no one challenged that order and started at the scaffolding just as one of the doors opened. How you ask, are they up to the task? To which the answer is a simple facility. This sounds like shit from a JRPG. Like, listen to this. Like, dude, this is stuff from a JRPG. This is Kingdom Hearts. Okay,
Blake.
Okay, I'll give it a very bad attempt again.
Don't just read one sentence.
No, you won't.
Come on.
I'll step in.
Try to read more than one sentence.
Okay, yay, John.
Okay, cool. I don't have to read now. Go ahead, Nate.
Go.
Oh wait, he doesn't know where we are.
Nate, by the way, we're on page
10.
A few looking Pegasi. Is that where we're at?
No, page 10. Oh yeah, a few official looking Pegasi. Yeah.
Yep, you're on the right page.
A few official-looking Pegasi walked in on the scaffolding and turned to look down on the group with disgust. One of them stood onto a small podium set up in the center and began speaking loudly and clearly. By now you have all clearly determined that you are not going to exile. There is no deportation. There never was. You're in the factory. You will never leave the factory. And while you may be called useless, that's also not entirely true. You are worthless to flock as a pony, but you still have purpose. Purpose to all the ponies in this land, and far and wide. You get to help us make rainbows. Beautiful, magical rainbows. Doesn't that excite you? The mysterious announcer grinned ecstatically, taking in all the disgusted looks from every foal on the floor below him. I thought so, he chuckled. It is such an honor, you know. It leaves every pony entrusted with the task. Speechless, too. Now, Do we have any volunteers? Again, every pony below glared at with hate. One brave pony, a light pink one from levitating acres, walked forward a few steps, then yelled, I think you'll find it more than that. A second official pony walked out of the shadows and up to the podium.
Skipped the line, by the dude.
The pony was in a suit and masked. The first pony walked off the podium and allowed the second to talk. Scootaloo noticed it was the rose-dyed pony from before. She watched more intently now. The voice was familiar. 1,000 years ago, when Celestia banished Luna from Equestrian Center to the moon, she was charged with 3 tasks. She originally was in charge of raising the sun and showering the land with rainbows. But with the moon being an additional task, she had to hand down the responsibility of rainbows. Celestia entrusted the Pegasite of Cloudsdale to make the rainbows for her. From them on, for the first dozen years, we were giving powerful unicorns to help create spectra. Spectra is a pure pigment of pure color. Everything is full of spectra, but you can't just harvest it. You can never spectate color from an object. So it was made artificially with magic. The masked pony never took her eyes off the brave pink one. That is, until our top engineers made a breakthrough. They discovered an ingenious way to extract pigment, and it was so beautiful even a simple machine could do it. But it couldn't be done with just anything. The conditions had to be right. What did those horrible people do? The pink Pegasus screamed, growing angry by the minute. The mysterious pony whipped off her mask, unveiling more than just her rose eyes. Her skin was light cyan, and her mane was a gorgeous rainbow. Several of the fillies gasped. Scootaloo's dun dun dun. Scootaloo's knees.
Oh my god, another reason for me to hate Rainbow Dash even more. Go on!
Only you. Only you.
Scootaloo's knees weakened as it hit her. It was Rainbow Dash. Scootaloo's thoughts raced through her mind, and the room started spinning. It couldn't be. An evil twin, maybe. Perhaps.
I used to be a Humor Crusader like you.
Perhaps.
No air in these jokes, man. Come on.
Perhaps some neglected sister. Rainbow Dash couldn't be this evil. She was her friend, her mentor, her only family, even if not by blood. How was all she could think. It had to be live ponies, only in ponies, where magic and spectra ran freely together. Rainbow Dash threw her head back and laughed manically. Jeez. Only then could the spectra be separated. It was such a beautiful...
Anyway,
and it was such a beautiful idea. Such a wonderfully horrible idea. It worked so well. It could create exponentially... I know I mispronounced that, but whatever. More rainbows of better quality with real spectra, and it finally gave us a way to prevent Cloudsdale from being tainted by all those horrible Pegasus which couldn't fly. Scootaloo couldn't take it, while all the other ponies were exclaiming their disgust and fear, running and screaming for where they came in, backing off as suited ponies surrounded them and herded them back into the center of the floor. Scootaloo couldn't take it anymore. I thought you loved me! She wailed, cutting Rainbow Dash's laughter short. Huh? She turned and noticed the amber-orange Pegasus. I thought you loved me! How could you do this to me? I thought you cared for me. After all the help, all my life, you treated me like a little sister, and I treated you like my big sister. You were my big sister to me. You were the only family I ever had, and you knew it. Tears were pouring down to her face now, obscuring her vision again. Her throat hurt from the crying and shouting, but she couldn't stop. After everything, you're just gonna let me die? I tried so hard, for you. She stared at the floor for a moment. Everyone was silent. Then Scootaloo looked up slowly, and while she couldn't see for her sadness in her eyes, she looked straight at Rainbow Dash, staring straight into those rosy eyes past them, and deep into Rainbow Dash herself. I thought you loved me. Rainbow Dash returned the look. Her eyes revealed no emotion, no love, no care, only apathy. Slowly, however, they glared at Scootaloo. Pure, seething hate erupted from Rainbow Dash's mouth, and she screamed as she screamed in
Oh,
return.
nice.
I did love you! I tried so hard for you. I taught you everything I knew in hopes you would pass your test. You had it in you, kid. I knew. I knew what they had did here. Ever since I performed that sonic rainbow as they approached me, they wanted to find more ways to make spectrum. They thought that if I was capable of making rainbows, I could help them make its components. Well, they couldn't. But I learned a lot about this place. I'm the manager here now, you know. I worked my way up, in secret, pretending to be only be a simple weather control. Now, do you think I could afford that massive house over Ponyville? How do you? She trailed, shaking her head, remembering her anger suddenly. I tried, alright! It was up to you to save yourself. You didn't just fail yourself. You didn't just fail Cloudsdale. You failed me. You failed me! And that's the worst thing you could have done. You aren't just dead to Cloudsdale. Now, you're dead to me.
Okay, where's my gun? I need a shooter now.
Jesus Christ. Save it for later, man.
Yeah,
This is a typical anime one.
well, it's basically like, I don't know, Rainbow Dash's cupcakes, maybe.
No, I thought this would be like another Cupcakes. It makes me really happy inside. But no, it's just pissing me off.
It's a JRPG. That's what pissing me off about this story. It sounds like something from Kingdom Hearts.
He's still ranting about Kingdom Hearts. What the hell? Alright, then we continue on. The room tilted as Scootaloo tried to comprehend what she was told. Her mind broke, as she was totally unable to focus on anything. She stumbled slightly until Orion held open a wing, and she clung into it for stability. Rainbow Dash noticed this and pointed and yelled with more fury. You can't have happiness! You ruined me! Now I'll ruin you! Workers! The brown one! There! Him first! No! Scootaloo, Aurora, and Orion all jumped. Suited ponies cornered Orion, pushing the other two to the side. He tried to leap out of the way to run, but one of the stallions spun around and kicked at him. The hoof connected to his shoulder, and Orion collapsed with a shout. Get back! The more suits yelled at Aurora and Scootaloo as they dragged the whimpering Orion into the front of the room. The giant machine at the back started humming to life, and the assembly of chains lifted off the top and moved towards the floor. Everyone noticed they were shackles now, and the suits clasped Orion to them. Braving up a look up, he turned to Scootaloo. Don't worry, Scoots. I love you. Goodbye. Goodbye, Orion, Scootaloo gasped. I love you too. With that, the chains pulled tight and lifted the brown. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
With that, the chains pulled tight and lifted the brown Pegasus all the way up to the gears. The chains grew taut and stretched each of Orion's limbs straight up and down. We find the machine that works better if the ribs are broken, Rainbow Dash explained apathetically as the chain spun around in opposite directions, twisting Orion. His screams almost covered the echoing pops and shattering noises. One or two jagged bones tore through his side, and his yells faded to a slow, quiet rattle of breath. The chains...
Yeah, there we go.
Here we go.
The chains untwisted and the shackles opened, dropping the shattered pony into the single opening. With horror, Scootaloo watched, her brain overcome with what was happening. Detached from all emotion, she noticed that the top of the machine wasn't rusty. It was blood. Blood. Just like what was being tossed up from the mangled remains of Orion, as the rest of his body was swallowed into the great machine, finishing with one lone hoof directed straight up. And there was nothing left. As the hoses of the green and red fats of Spectrum started spewing their brilliant colors, Scootaloo's vision started to fade, and the last thing she noted was Aurora's concern. Broken voice saying her name was as Scootaloo flopped to the side. Who's next?